How's everybody doing today? It's Monday. Hope you had a nice weekend. Hope you've got caught up with all the marriage stuff from last week and that you've got a good set of notes and that you're feeling confident about your ideas from last week. If you're not, then have a think about which areas you might want to revisit. Did you make some good notes, or did you just scribble a few odd things down? Remember, there's that question that I want you to do about marriage. So that's going to help you evaluate whether you have made good notes. But remember, I'm not going to be marking it to like an exam standard. Just literally, it's like you're going back to the gym, but this is going to be a little warm up before you get to the gym. It's going to be a little slow jog around the block. Okay? Right, great. So what are we moving on to this week? We're going to do some work on Darwinism, which is an interesting bit of context for our play. And it does actually have links with Milton. Obviously, you can't use it in the same way because Milton was born before Darwin. So let's always keep our context kind of in check there. But we're going to think about the effect that Darwin had on the way that people thought about themselves, the world in which they lived, and their relationship with God and religion. Okay. So I'm going to talk you through this little slideshow. It's pretty self-explanatory. You will see very quickly that I didn't make it, Claire did, because it's packed full of detail and information. So many thanks to Claire, giving her all the credit for this. Right, okay, so let's crack on. Your first activity will be a nice little Masalit lecture. It's about 10 minutes. We love these, don't we? We're subscribing to Masalit now. We're trying to. We're having some issues getting logged in. But hopefully that will be a brilliant resource for all of you for the rest of the year. So you're going to do that. You're also then, and make notes, and there's some questions to help you. So you might even watch it through 2 or 3 times. They're going to think about linking that context to A Doll's House. Remember, there's never any point just knowing something historical unless you're making it talk to the actual text. Then some work on AO5, critical interpretations, and finally a question. So there's a fair bit of work there. No one can complain that we're not giving them stuff to keep them occupied. Right, okay, what's next? Oh, it's the Masalit lecture, like I just said. So you're going to, watch it through once, Dr. Will Aberley, and then you are going to answer these questions. Now, what's interesting, when you get to number 7, summarise Aberley's explanation of Darwin's theory of evolution. You might want to range beyond Masalit at that point. You might also, and this is completely fine, go, I'm a bit stuck here. This is really quite complicated. So go as far as your curiosity and your confidence allows. What I would suggest is there are some great videos on YouTube. I think it's just because I'm just naturally interested in this, but you don't need to know loads about it for A Doll's House. But in the same way, why wouldn't you want to just learn more about this kind of thing? You know, let's not always have that narrow exam focus. If I don't need it for the exam, well, you need it for life, don't you? Because it's good to know things. So that's pretty straightforward, I think. Some questions, and again, these are the kinds of things that we can work through on Friday. And I have to figure out times for Friday because we are busy all week doing enrolment, so things are going to be a bit messy. Okay, how can you link this context to A Doll's House? So Claire's given you a little bit more information there. You don't need to do masses on this, right? So don't worry if this is quite hard. Task 1, I definitely want you to do, answer those questions. Task 2, I'm happy here with you just pulling out, maybe annotating this slide with some quotations, something to think about, okay? And then this allows you to think about connecting A Doll's House and Darwinism. And there's a link here to a context table, so I'm going to put all of that in underneath this video. So you're pulling out the quotations. Claire's put an example for you there, and you're now going to just think about that across the rest of the text. Again, I don't need you to do, a dozen of these, right? Just do a couple more, right? I'm very aware that you're doing this in isolation. You're not sure if they're right or wrong. I don't want anyone stressing about this, okay? The main thing that you should be thinking about is how all of these activities help you familiarise yourself with the text. Remember, it's closed book. So if any of this makes you go back and go, oh, I've forgotten about that bit, that's the best thing that you can be doing at this point. And finally, we've got a link here to the introduction. And I think this is going to be something that we'll discuss a lot more in a live lesson at some point during the week. Thinking about environment, right? How people are affected by their environment, this thing about determinism and free will. Again, very, very important in Paradise Lost, so a really good thing to start getting your head around. And I just love stuff that's about the environment, because I love the environment of Paradise Lost as well. I love how setting is just so key in allowing Milton to portray his ideas of what's happening to this couple and therefore to humanity. I don't know, it's just one of my favourite things to teach. And I don't normally say that. I'm normally about like the people and what they're saying, but Earth felt the wound. Oh God, just love it. So I think that's it, isn't it? Oh, sorry, yeah. And this task at the end. Again, if you get to this point, task 5, and you're like, I'm struggling, then it's okay, right? It's all right. Just go through as much as you feel able. Just keep checking in with yourself. Why are you struggling? Why do you find this thing hard? Now, if that's because none of it's made sense so far, fair enough. If it's because you haven't made good enough notes or you didn't watch the lecture properly, kind of check in with that and go back and think about how you can prepare yourself more fully, okay? Analyse how the character of rank evolves across the play to amplify Ibsen's questioning of society's corrupted ideals. I wonder what questioning might mean. Is it kind of a double questioning of oneself? It's deep, man, it's deep. I'm just rambling on now, aren't I? Okay, do your best with all of that. That's all we ever ask of you, isn't it? Just do your best. And I will check in with you throughout the week, and I'm hoping to do a bit of a live lesson at 10 today, Monday. So yeah, that's it. Okay, goodbye.